Hello subscribers, welcome to another subscriber exclusive edition of James and Loki's Gems of the Week. This week we are back to normal with the James cam on James and the Loki cam on Loki. Last week was Loki's birthday, so I gave him the good camera last week. This week we return to the status quo as we review all of the tweets, the posts now we call them, that I liked over the previous week. I have this queued up already to the last tweet that we saw last week from Romain Edwin. So let's just jump right into the content. I tried offering Loki his breakfast in a previous video, and he did not stir from his comfy bed. So if he does during this video, I will move the camera so you don't miss a thrilling moment of the action in the Loki cam here below me. But for now, let's launch into the content. Here's one from Sergi Sales at Masterplan 2018. This account used to just call itself Masterplan, I think. So now we have a name here. This might be Solace, Sergi Solace. But if you don't know, in Twitter, you can go to the Translate Post link here, and it'll just give you what this says. So he said, analyzing your accounts, Tesla is arguably the strongest company in the S&P financially. He's retweeting Alexandra Mertz's table that I retweeted, saying, critics of Tesla pointed out during the first years of listing that the company was heading straight for bankruptcy in the infamous group of Tesla Q, with large investors and analysts such as Jim Chanos, David Einhorn, Andrew Left, Michael Burry, and Gordon Johnson. They compared it with Enron. Despite the numbers, it is hilarious how slow the major credit rating agencies are to improve their credit rating for Tesla, the score they give Tesla for its credit risk. Compared to the 30 most valuable companies publicly traded in the U.S., Tesla ranks first or second in the most frequently used financial strength metrics than any other company. Yeah, that's what I said in my tweet, and he translated that into Spanish for his tweet. So good info there. If you're interested on more info on this, I made a few videos about this last week, so it was just on the tail end of liking people's tweets that were interacting with that content. A bunch of people said happy birthday to Loki, including Heidi Edelweiss, Tesla Shill, and Chris D, so thank you to all of you. Here's a tweet I liked from Matthew Santoro. I've said it before and I will say it again. Tesla will need to drive better than a level 4 system like Cruise before they get to level 4. Sure, Cruise can go more miles right now between disengagements, but this would not fly on a final level 2 product, never mind level 4. Look at this car stopping for no reason. There is nothing in front of it that's making it brake this hard and stop moving. Like, it doesn't like this orange cone, I guess, because it's using LiDAR, and that orange cone wasn't modeled into its map for what to expect around that corner. So, thankfully it did proceed, but it's a risk to traffic. Even with the bumper sticker that says, may stop quickly, the driver behind you is not expecting you to come to a full stop here for no reason. Like, there's a clear view over here of the left turn this Cruise vehicle should have made. Musoto Sarir captioned it, Cruise Robotaxi suddenly brakes in front of me after trying to make a left turn from the second lane. Yeah, this is not even the lane you're supposed to be in to make a left turn. This vehicle should have already been one more lane across. So I like that tweet. Let's keep going. Here's one from Gemma, James Dalma. For those of you who have been asking about Phi Beta Kitten, she's back. So if you don't know, oh, she was back and now she's gone again. All right. So if you get a chance to follow Phi Beta Kitten, James Dalma's girlfriend, and a valuable member of the Tesla community on Twitter for many years, that put out a lot of great tweets that I liked over the years. Maybe we'll see some of them during this video if they're still here after she apparently deleted her account again. Okay, Here's one from Matt Smith at MattChasm Matt. The Tesla Megapack XL is 3.9 megawatt hours, meaning in an event like this, discharging a Megapack XL fully one time is worth $7,800. That means just one full discharge is worth 0.3% of the total capital cost of a Megapack. That's pretty bonkers. Yeah, so just to put a little easy math on this, if you got the opportunity once per day to discharge your Megapack XL, and you can cycle a Megapack XL more than once per day, but let's say it happens once a day, then after 3 days, you've recouped 1% of the cost of that vehicle. So after, that Megapack XL, and that scales. No matter how many of them you bought, the grid will demand that much power from you, right? I mean, Texas is not a small place. There's a lot of consumers of electricity in Texas, right? So if you bought hundreds of Megapack XLs, you get this same opportunity on all of them. So yeah, you do that for 300 days, and you've made as much money selling power back to the grid as the initial capital investment. So that could be a 1-year payback period if you got opportunities like that to sell the grid 3.9 megawatt hours of electricity for $7,800 every day. Now, I don't know if that is an everyday occurrence. The caption here says, wow, real-time prices for electricity in ERCOT. The Energy Reliability Company of Texas, or whatever that stands for, are now at around $2,000 per megawatt hour in most locations. For reference, a normal price is more like $20 to $50. So, yeah, most of the time you're not going to get that deal, but it wouldn't take a lot of days like that to get your money back in short order, and payback period is important to buyers who are doing the financial analysis on it, trying to decide, hey, does it make sense for me to buy a whole lot of Megapack XLs? Here's one from Tesla Owners Club, Western Australia, at Tesla_WA. A record total of 749 Tesla Model 3 and Model Y EVs freshly arrived at Fremantle Port in Western Australia from the transport ship Crystal Ace, soon to be delivered to eager owners. Not all cars visible in these photos. Yeah, so check out all those Teslas parked and ready to be transported to their happy buyers. So a good tweet there. That's a pretty big size shipment and delivery for Australia. More people live in Florida than live in Australia, I think. Tesla Sean here says, okay, so I guess I'm the Tesla semi guy now, since Pepsi is down the street from me, and this is what people want, based on my ex engagement. If you want more of these, make sure to let me know in the comments what you'd like to see. All right, it took me a minute to figure out what the punctuation was on this first sentence. Use commas, folks, when appropriate, to break up your sentences. Punctuation saves lives. Let's eat, Grandma. You need the comma in there. It could mean something different without it. Here's a tweet from Matthew Donegan Ryan. I constantly hear stories on people who didn't realize how affordable Tesla cars have become. I made a separate video about this tweet from Matthew, so go check out that separate video if you missed it and find out what I liked so much about that tweet. Here's one from Mayor Tucker. Love Buffett and Munger, but blanket dismissing EBITDA under any circumstance is precisely why they have missed the greatest compounders of our generation, Amazon and now Tesla. EBITDA is a leading indicator of net income, often by years, for capital-intensive compounders. What's Mayor talking about here? Well, before depreciation is important if you've had to buy a lot of capital. A lot of times, the capital depreciation table is short, right? You may be depreciating assets over 3 years or 5 years, or you may be accelerating depreciation early on. So the more depreciation expense you're calling out, the lower your earnings are going to be. But that's a non-cash expense, right? Depreciation. So that's one of the reasons why some people prefer looking at EBITDA to see, okay, what within management's control is the profit? If I throw out the interest, the taxes, the management doesn't decide how much they have to pay in taxes, right? And the depreciation and amortization. What's the difference between depreciation and amortization? Depreciation is on physical capital assets, and amortization is on intangible assets. Like if you were to buy a trademark from another company or something, you might be able to depreciate that over its useful life. You would call that amortization, to amortize that intangible asset. So yeah, I like that tweet from Yor, just pointing out, hey, Buffett and Munger had a chance to buy lots of Tesla when the market cap was low, like before Tesla was worth even $10 billion. They both had a chance to buy in. They could have bought 5%, 10%, 20% of the company, and Berkshire Hathaway would be worth a lot more today if they had. Here's one from Tesla Thomas at Mr. Tesla Tom. I mean, it would be worth even more than it seems, because if they had been holding and not selling, they would have been taking all those shares off the market, making them unavailable for other buyers, right? That drives the total valuation of the company higher when you've got a huge fraction of the shares not trading. They're not part of daily trading volume. Tesla Thomas at Mr. Tesla Tom shared a story from his first visit to Fremont in 2014. As a manager, I think he was a Tesla service center manager, and had hit his target for deliveries that quarter, and got invited to tour the factory back when all they were making was Model S. And mostly the factory was empty back then. So I'll bring this up long enough that you can pause it and read through it if you want, and see this story about meeting with Elon and Franz, and check that out. I like that tweet, and follow Tesla Thomas at Mr. Tesla Tom if you want to hear more of his stories from his time working at Tesla. Also, if you check out the highlights tab on his profile, you can find those stories. Here's one from Tesla China analyst that I liked at Tesla Shanghai. Highland Project update. Appearance, the new Model 3 looks overall very attractive, even more so than the Model S, in someone's opinion. Especially the new headlights. Production, the trial production phase has ended. Production ramp-up with stress testing will begin on August 25th. By early September, the daily production capacity is expected to reach approximately 1,200 units by early September. Hardware is 3.5, not 4, and all radars have been removed, so no radar. Pricing, manufacturer cost of the entire vehicle has significantly decreased compared to the older Model 3 due to single-piece castings, significant reduction in wiring harnesses, use of more new materials. However, we still maintain our estimate that the pricing will be around 200,000 renminbi, that means Chinese yuan, $27,000 US in parentheses here. So renminbi, literally translated in Mandarin, is the people's money. So the corollary for that is just money, 200,000 money. If you want the corollary for dollars, that's what yuan is. Remember, when you're talking about Chinese currency, it's yuan. When you're talking about South Korean currency, that's won. People get that wrong a lot. It's WON for Korean won. It's YUAN for Chinese yuan. Expectations, in summary, the new Model 3 is very impressive. If the pricing is close to what we anticipate, then this vehicle will surely be warmly welcomed by the market and once again lead to an explosive increase in orders. I should say so. If they go straight to a $27,000 price point, folks, I mean, that's not going to be among the cheapest cars available in mainland China because there's so many domestic producers that are at lower price points than this. But in the U.S., there are no cars left below a $20,000 price point. So $27,000 in the U.S. would be extremely competitive if they were to go straight there. It seems likelier to me that they would go to like a $34,900 price point or something, and then see how many orders they get, and then, you know, if they can afford to keep making cuts from there. Okay, Tesla is not going to sell 20 million cars per year if they cost $50,000 each, right? They'll have to figure out a way to lower that price and make it more affordable. Here's one from the Short Shorts historian. This day in Tesla Q history, just checking on my bookmarks, King Pickle Rick 1 3 years ago claimed Tesla would be the largest Chapter 11 in the history of the entire world. Bookmark it. So, yeah, Tesla historian did bookmark it. And I had to reply, it was dumb while it lasted, with some screenshots that I had of my interactions with King Pickle Rick. Here's one where he said he thought Tesla's 2020 earnings were going to be either a positive number or a negative number or zero. I kind of taunted him a little bit there. And he replied, in fact, I'll do you better since Tesla is likely to lose more than $700 million in 2019. Tesla will lose more than $700 million again in 2020. Year 18 of losses coming soon. That is what Tesla Q expected. That's what King Pickle Rick 1 expected at the time. But then what happened in 2020? Well, the 700 million was right, but the direction was wrong. Tesla beat King Pickle Rick 1's expectations for GAAP net income in 2020 by more than $1.4 billion. So like almost $1.5 billion is what Tesla beat his forecast by. Yes, in 2019, Tesla did lose $862 million for the year, and in the prior 3 years, maybe the prior 17 years, Tesla lost money as well. But that all turned around in 2020 as the Tesla bulls, myself included, were predicting, and King Pickle Rick 1 has, I think, since deleted their account. I'm not sure that account is still around anymore. Maybe after getting his face ripped off shorting Tesla, he couldn't afford Twitter anymore. Here's one from Paul Graham at Paul G, famous Silicon Valley investor and startup CEO, I believe. The real sign of the dominance of electric cars is that they now group hybrids with gas-powered cars. They used to group them with electric, yeah. So a lot of manufacturers like to group them together and say, oh, we sold 100,000 electrified cars last year. And their use of the word electrified means hybrids plus BEVs. So in the case of Toyota, they might say we sold over 1 million electrified vehicles last year. And what they mean is they sold some mild hybrids, mostly mild hybrids, you know, Lexus and Toyota vehicles, and some plug-in hybrids and almost no battery electric vehicles, right? Well, now in Norway, you can see electric is 80% of the market nearly, with petrol down to 21% and falling, having crossed back in 2019, 2020, looks like. So, yeah, in Norway, they are now counting hybrids as being diesel and petrol vehicles because people do pump fossil fuels into mild hybrid vehicles. Well, every kind of hybrid vehicle, right? If it's gotten a combustion engine in it, you're going to be pumping fossil fuel into it. Here's one from Sunil Vuturi at Sunny21704. Ford versus Tesla, cumulative Model T and Tesla unit sales. I made a few videos about this last week you can go check out. But on this chart, what you can see is Tesla surpassing by its 11th year of making vehicles the amount of Model Ts Ford had sold over its first 11 years. So kind of the same chart that I had made, being corroborated by somebody else who did the same effort. Here's one from Emmett Peppers, at Emmett Peppers on Twitter. Fact, new car sales in the U.S. are $14 million per year at $48,000 average price. Fact, Tesla will sell well under 1 million new cars in the U.S. in 2023. So that leaves 13 million combustion engine vehicles probably, right? There's not very many BEV sales from anybody else in the U.S. Very important fact, Tesla has lowered prices multiple times in 2023 and pulled an unorthodox grassroots demand levers in 2023. Tesla is the best value proposition by far for well over 10% of new car buyers' population, at the very least 20 or 30%, but probably more like 50 to 80% in reality if people knew. If people were test driving Teslas before they bought a dumb Toyota or Honda gasoline engine vehicle, they would probably make a smarter decision and not waste their money buying those soon to be obsolete forms of transportation. Question: these last two very important facts don't make sense together. How do we reconcile them both being true? That Teslas are very affordable and the better fit for most people, but other cars are outselling Tesla. How is that, apart from Tesla not being able to produce enough for everybody who ought to want to buy one? Then he tagged Elon Musk and said, please do not divert to interest rates being too high or recession. Neither of those are bringing new car buyers below 10 million for 2023. The point Emmett is driving at is that people aren't aware. That's the explanation. People don't know that it would be smarter for them to buy a Tesla, and that's why they're buying something else. So Tesla ought to be working out a plan for how to make sure more people know that a Tesla is the best new car available for their use case. Here's a tweet from Dustin Gardner. Spotted 3 robotaxi cars stalled in the same intersection in San Francisco. This time it's Cruise cars jamming the intersection of Valencia and 21st Street in the Mission district of San Francisco. Parking enforcement guy banging on windows trying to communicate with Cruise. Traffic backed up for blocks as these 2 Cruise cars try to figure out how to get through this intersection, and eventually somewhat figure it out. So I guess they're confused because there's cones over here and pedestrians blocking the road. I remember in the comments somebody said that on weekends this is a pedestrian-only district, which is what these cones are all here for. And I guess these people are over here helping the crews decide, hey, you can't go this way, you have to make a turn. Much to the despair of all the regular human beings behind them in traffic, just trying to get where they want to go, and these cruise vehicles can't figure it out and make their way through. I didn't see Tesla Q tagging Nitsa and Pete Buttigieg to try to address Cruise being a huge problem in traffic in San Francisco the way they did after Elon Musk's FSD 12 drive with Whole Mars blog last night, in which he sped some and he didn't stop all the way down to 0 miles per hour at stop signs, that sort of thing. Well, yeah, almost no one does. So good luck, Tesla Q, trying to get your short positions bailed out by government officials. Here's one from Jason DeBolt. By the way, I do not consider Tesla to be a high-risk investment long-term. It's one of the safest, but it's extremely volatile, so there is timing risk, and you'd probably need more Tesla shares to comfortably retire than slow-growing, less volatile assets. And he's retweeting himself here. I'm not going to read this whole thing because that's a long tweet. But yeah, Jason DeBolt has been debolting his shares in Tesla for a long period of time, which means holding them. It's a verb. To debolt your shares is to hold them. Here's one from Roland Percher at PILOLY. I now realize that I screwed up the first chart. This is the same chart with the same numbers, but sorted correctly. World's top 10 best-selling EVs in the first half of 2023. There's two axes on here, so there's one that's units and there's one that's price. So the Tesla Model Y is the highest priced vehicle, and it's also the highest selling vehicle in terms of units sold. So how in the world can that make sense, right? So they're sorted from left to right in order of how many of them are being sold. Look at the Tesla Model 3. It's the second best seller, and it's at nearly as high a price as the Model Y. The two highest priced vehicles in this set are the two best selling vehicles by unit count. You wouldn't think that should be with the Wuling Hongguang Mini EV, for example, here. Selling for, what's this number? $4,200 US? That's a very, very inexpensive vehicle. BYD Song is the second cheapest vehicle on the list, and it is the third best seller. But you can buy 11 of these for one Tesla Model Y's selling price, and people just aren't buying them, right? Because it's not worth the money. It's that $4,200 vehicle isn't really worth $4,200 in the estimation of everybody who bought this car or any of the other ones on here, right? That were at a higher price. It was worth paying more to get a better vehicle than this extremely cheap one over here. Okay. Next is another tweet from Roland. The Tesla Model Y was by far the world's best-selling EV in the first half of 2023. No surprise, since it's also the best-selling car overall so far. Model 3 comes in second. Look at the starting price. So we just saw the correct chart for that one. Converging this to dollars spent within these top 10 models, we can see almost 60% of the money went to Tesla. This is an important point people are missing out on. You take the units sold and you multiply them by the average selling price, and that gets you the revenue dollars collected for that model. Here's how much of the pie is going to Tesla Model Y. So of all the money people are spending on these cars, Tesla is collecting more than half of it, 41 plus 17. Well, and that's a 0.5 and that's a 0.4, so you got to round that up. 18 and 41 makes 59%, so almost 60%, which I guess Roland said here, is going to Tesla, with the remaining 41% being split among the remaining 8 vehicles on here, right? So if you think there's a lot of profit left over on the Wuling Hongguang Mini EV after they collect $4,200, there is not, right? This vehicle exists to collect the manufacturer EV tax credit in China. Yeah, so then I'll go on up to the next tweet that I liked from Sergi Salas at Masterplan 2018. Hashtag Tesla ROA, return on assets. Here's a chart Sergi created after finding data on Finbox.com. I'm not sure I was able to find this data, or maybe it was behind a paywall and I haven't paid Finbox.com to get behind their paywall. But yeah, check it out over here. Return on assets for Tesla, 15.3%. That's pretty great. Ferrari in second place at 13%. Look at Ford over here. They've got a 1.4% return on assets. That is not good, folks. You want to be making more profit relative to your total assets on your balance sheet than that. Tesla is making a very solid return on assets. Most other automakers are not. So I like that tweet. Here's one from LES. This is, well, I'm not going to say the name of the person who runs Clearbrook Cap, but there aren't enough people following this account. This is a good account to follow. At DefNotES2 on Twitter. Hashtag Tesla by a lot. Everything else is mature, minus NVIDIA, which is in a massive bubble. Retweeting Bespoke at Bespoke Invest. If you could only choose one of these 6 megacaps to own for the next 10 years, which would it be? Apple, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, NVIDIA, or Tesla? ES just gave you his opinion. Next is a tweet from Tesla Saves Lives at Tesla Saves Lives on Twitter. No need to understand a complicated car dashboard to feel safe in a Tesla. So, yeah. In a Tesla, when there's an error, it tells you in words. It pops up on the screen, whatever language you've selected, and explains to you what the error is that's going on, right? So if one of your cameras is blocked, it'll just say that as a sentence on the screen. And you don't have to decode what these archaic, like the check oil symbol has, like, what is that, an old-fashioned lamp oil is the emoji you're supposed to know. Like, I do, but I don't know all of these, every single one, right? So yeah, check engine is an engine block, those sorts of things. So yeah, you don't need to know any of that decoding to drive a Tesla. Here's one from Alex at Alex_Avoit. Just to keep up with companies like Tesla, legacy automakers need to innovate faster than the competition. But the problem is they continue to be slower. Yeah, if Tesla's already ahead of you and they're innovating faster than you are, you can't catch them, right? So if you're trying to race against Usain Bolt and you give him a head start and you've never been able to run as fast as Usain Bolt does, you can't catch up to him. It can't be done, right? That's what Alex is talking about here. Even worse, they are structured and mentally incapable of accelerating innovation to the required level and therefore will inevitably continue to fail. It's simple because it's all about the pace of innovation. Elon has been telling us this for many years now. It's probably been 3 or 4 years since Elon said during an earnings call, the fundamental advantage of Tesla, the fundamental differentiator or competitive advantage, is the pace of innovation. If Tesla is innovating faster, nobody else will be able to catch up. Here's a tweet I liked from Elon Alerts at Elon_Alerts. Elon Musk liked a post from James Stevenson. So this is me tweeting about how Ford made 3.6 million Model T Fords over their first 10.5 years making vehicles. Tesla has made more than 4.6 million vehicles since Tesla Model S sales began in 2012. So throwing out the early vehicle, which I was comfortable doing after learning that Ford had actually been producing vehicles in the 1890s. I didn't know that. So yeah, when they started making the Model T in 1909, they had already been making other vehicles for 10 years at that point. So fair comparison. I mean, other people said ridiculous stuff like, well, the population of the U.S. is different. Yeah, I know. The competition was also very limited back then in terms of how much output there was from competitors. Ford was producing millions of vehicles, and most of their competition was producing nothing approaching millions of vehicles. back then. Here's one from My Tesla Weekend at 4K Podcast. Extensive look inside Giga Shanghai with breakdown and analysis. Watch this video if you haven't seen it already. It's a long tour from an employee at Giga Shanghai walking the Model Y line and showing you how that car comes together, with narration over the top from Brian White, who knows his stuff. So go check out this video. It isn't 33 minutes long. It's like 14 minutes long. And then, let me skip ahead here. And then at the end...
one team checks the body in white. Another checks the assembly.
All right, so that's that video. Let me see if I can advance ahead here. Yeah, so something went wrong when Brian uploaded this video, and there's a few minutes where nothing is happening, and then the whole end of the video, probably the last 14 minutes, is just the original video without Brian's commentary over the top. So here's another tweet on the same topic from Tesla Chan. YouTuber Digitrio recently filmed inside Tesla Giga Shanghai and produced reviews. There's something impressive about today's updated video. Photographs of Elon Musk are posted here and there in the workshop. People who work there are huge fans of Tesla and Elon and are loyal to create a sustainable future. They all want what the Tesla mission is, to accelerate the transition to sustainable energy. The future of Giga Shanghai is still very bright. So that's a good tweet to like. Here's one from Alex at AJ Tourville. Forbes says Tesla has started shipping #Cybertruck. Kelly Blue Book says we currently estimate it will start at around $50,000. So I made a video about this. Go check out that video if you're interested. Here's one from Chansu Bayon, I'm probably saying that wrong, at BYEON Chansu on Twitter. Tesla, thank you to Tesla owners for making Model Y the world's best-selling car in Q1 this year. So that tweet from August 21st, retweeting a tweet from May 26th, as we tried to explain to Fly4Dat that Tesla Model Y was the world's best-selling car because it's dumb to allow Toyota to total up all the different kinds of cars they sell that have Corolla in the name, right? So they have a Corolla Compact and a Corolla Sedan, and probably the most egregious violation is the Corolla Cross SUV. It's not even remotely a Corolla. They just put the Corolla word on a different kind of SUV to try to sell more of them because it's a budget SUV. They thought if they called it the Corolla SUV that more people would give it a look and potentially buy it from them. Here's one from My Tesla Weekend. Can you spare 54 seconds to enjoy how quickly Tesla hits another million these days? I didn't publish this video separately on YouTube, but I did make this very, very short video. I'll just show it to you if X will cooperate and play the video. I'll show you with an animated chart that I updated after the last time Tesla published their delivery numbers, which was Q2 2023. I'm just going to hit play, and then every time Tesla sells another million cars, I will call out the cumulative total, which you can keep up with at the bottom right there. $1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 4 million. There you go. Yeah, there you go. So that's the pace at which Tesla is increasing their ability to produce another million cars. It's going quick. And I'm sorry if there was a delay. Sometimes there is a delay between the video and the audio, so those may not have lined up exactly for you in this videoception that I just did, me showing you another video of me. Here's one from Steven Spencer at @SSpencer_SMB, up 8% since Friday morning. Hashtag TeslaQ, please block me again so I can get a clean buy signal on the unblock. At PolitiReality. What's he replying to here? Oh, here. He tweeted previously, August 17th, the Joker who started shorting Tesla in January 2023 unblocked me today, which is a very strong buy signal, Steven said, which is pretty funny. PolitiReality, just the worst prognosticator about Tesla stock price. So Steven Spencer here is using them as a contraindicator of what's going to happen. Whatever PolitiReality says will happen will not happen. Here's one from Chris Dungeon. How to win at buying a car. 1. Buy a Tesla. 2. Pay it off early with gas savings. 3. Top off washer fluid from time to time. 4. Let it drive you. Simple. So yeah, buy your Tesla with FSD. When you hop in, you put it in drive. You push the right steering wheel button and you say, drive me to wherever you're going. Then you double click your turn stalk and your car drives you there. How do I know this process? Because that's how I drive wherever I'm going. FSD, it works. People think it doesn't work, but it works. Sometimes you have to disengage it, but 99+% of the time it's going to do the right thing, even before version 12. Here's one from Alexander at tripletboy_97. Funny, my sister just got a Corolla and my grandpa just got the Corolla Cross. Completely different, not just 2 or 3 panels. So Fly for Dat tried unconvincingly to claim that every Toyota with the word Corolla in it is the same car, just with 2 or 3 panels being different. That did not fly past Alexander, who has seen these vehicles in person and knows they're completely different. Not just 2 or 3 panels, and it's funny for anybody to suggest that they're the same car. They're not. I mean, the Model Y and the Model 3 are way more similar than those Corolla models are. Here's one from Tesla Thomas, another one from at Mr. Tesla Tom, with another story from way back in 2012, which I'll let you pause and read. It's a long story, so you can read that if you want. I like that tweet. Here's one from Farzad Misbahi at Farziness. In the first half of 2023, Tesla sold twice as many EVs as the entire legacy auto industry combined in the US. So here's 2023 first half, Tesla selling 2/3 of the EVs people bought in the US, and every other maker of EVs combined had about the remaining third of EV sales. Pretty remarkable. Good to just put that on a simple chart, let people understand the magnitude of what's going on. Roland replied with this chart that tells the same story. So 330,000 Teslas sold in the first half of 2023 in the US. Here's everybody else combined. Chevy, with a Bolt that they're discontinuing, had the #1 spot here. Then the #2, obviously. Tesla's over here in #1, dwarfing everybody else combined. Then Ford with their F-150 Lightning and Mustang Mach-E, etc. Yeah, so I like that tweet and that chart. Here's one from Elon Musk that I liked. Finally, having truth in advertising is awesome. Replying to Doge Designer at CB_Doge, a sponsored ad that was misguiding the users got community noted. Truth is greater than money. Instagram, the same ad is being promoted without any fact checks. Money is greater than truth. Yeah. So over here, if you see this ad on X, you will know that the actual gameplay is entirely different. If you see this ad on Instagram, you get no such warning. before downloading that video game and then finding out that it's not the same thing and you have been bait and switched. So Elon said, finally, some truth in advertising. Here's one from Richard Anania. The New Yorker profile of Elon Musk is supposed to present him as some kind of supervillain. Read closely, and you'll see one example after another of how the regulatory state hinders progress. So in story number 1, the FAA tried to stop a SpaceX launch because some windows might get blown out. Well, maybe... and then the rocket did end up exploding and no windows were damaged. So thanks, government. Story 2, Tesla is forced to do a recall because their automated software permitted people to roll through stop signs at 6 miles per hour, but that's how everybody drives. So are we gonna make everybody later in robotaxis than they are today driving themselves? Does that make sense? Come on, think it through, people. This would have a cumulative effect on total traffic. Like, everybody's commute would be longer if people didn't go at four-way stops when it's their turn, just because they haven't come to a full, complete stop yet, right? Slow enough is slow enough. And human drivers and police working traffic recognize that most of the time. Tesla wants to replace car engine noises with whatever sound the driver chooses. Not allowed, but no reason even given for this one. This is your government in action. There's just a regulation somewhere, I guess, which says cars can only go vroom vroom. Yeah, you can make vroom vroom noises, that's legal, but you can't make any other noise that you choose. So funny. So good tweet there. Here's one from Tesla owners Silicon Valley. Model S Plaid destroys modified GTR. So yeah, you get one of the fastest cars you can find, and then you spend a lot of money souping up that car to make it even faster. And then a stock Model S Plaid 4-door luxury sedan destroys you in a straight line on a drag strip. Yeah, so you can't even see the Model S Plaid by the end of this video. It's so far off in the distance. It's just the glow of brake lights is all that you can see. Here's one from Gregor Truck with a giggling emoji here, tagging PeterDog15. He said skirt and reverse the drone when he saw the completely uncovered Cybertruck today. Good catch. So here's the stopping happening right away. Oh, I was planning on running past, but let's back it up and zoom in on this Cybertruck Tesla employees are working on. Get that lamppost out of the way. Get a better look at this totally uncovered Tesla Cybertruck. Employees, when the front gets open, quickly realize there's a drone overhead and stop messing with Cybertruck. Great video. So, good stuff there. Here's one from Tesla Economics. Tesla Summon picks this guy up and FSD drops him off at home. So this is a Kroger parking lot someplace in the world. And you can hear, if you play the audio, the nearby pedestrians commenting that there's nobody driving this car. It is not well understood by the public yet that Teslas can drive themselves. And I wish this video would play smoothly for you right now, but I guess Twitter is having problems with sending out video. But yeah, those kids and their parents were talking about how this Tesla has nobody inside, but it's still driving safely. Here's one from Future Tesla Now. A woman from Los Angeles, California, has used her Tesla Model 3 Sentry Mode to catch her husband cheating on her with another woman. The woman, who wished to remain anonymous, said she had suspected her husband of having an affair for a while but had no proof. I'll just let you read the rest of this video, or this tweet. But yeah, there you go. That's the modern world. That's one feature that probably the people at Tesla who designed it didn't intend for that use case to work, but people are ingenious. Here's one from My Tesla Weekend at 4K Podcast. Once again, this is Brian White, who tweeted, Jim Worthy adjacent yet again. I'll rise to your minimum clever threshold. You'll see. So, you made it. You made it, Brian, twice into this week's episode of James and Loki's Gems of the Week. Here was my video about how Brad Munkin pretends to be good at accounting but actually doesn't know how the free cash flow calculation works. Brian replied, yeah, but the erroneous monk is a notorious teller of tall tales. Could you imagine being online this long and never admitting who you are? So I replied, digging deep into the pop culture references for that one with jazz pianist Thelonious Monk being referenced there. So, good tweet. Here's one from Dylan Loomis. Tesla has told us the metric they're optimizing for is operating margin. It's important to understand this key performance indicator well, and it's essential for everyone involved in #Tesla. This also happens to be one metric I think Wall Street is on the fence about, which is building in upside to Tesla stock, in my opinion. Oftentimes people use EBIT. You'll see other legacy automakers making a big deal out of EBIT, earnings before interest and taxes, interchangeably with operating margin or profit, but that's usually not accurate. EBIT includes other revenue, investment income, whereas operating margin only focuses on profitability generated from core business operations, right? So when you see Ford report their 2021 earnings, they included a $9.1 billion gain on their Rivian investment. And the following year, when Rivian stock tanked, they had to take a $5 billion loss, right? Do you want that noise in your metric for profitability? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I would say exclude it and go with operating margin instead to focus only on profitability generated from core business operations. What is the business your company is in, and how much profit are you making doing that? Ford is not in the business of investing in rival automakers, right? As Tesla's cash balance and thus investment income grows, this is an important distinction. Operating margin shows us how efficient Tesla is at generating profit from its fundamental business. Given each dollar of revenue, operating margin formula is operating profit divided by revenue. The times 100 here is not necessary because a percentage means per 100. Operating profit is found to be found by taking revenue minus cost of goods sold to get gross profit, then subtracting operating expenses from the gross profit. So research and development, selling, general administrative expenses, depreciation, etc., to get to operating profit. So revenue minus cost of goods sold minus research and development minus SG&A minus depreciation. People also erroneously say Tesla's margins are suppressed now due to the Austin, Berlin, Lathrop factory ramps, implying those costs will go away. These will, but they'll be replaced by new factory ramps as Tesla progresses to 20 million units per year. Tesla's going to be building factories every year for a long time. Tesla's also moving some R&D costs like 4680 production into cost of goods sold as these cells are directly used in vehicles being sold. And if and when Elon gets a new compensation package, any CEO stock-based compensation, that would also be a drag on Tesla's operating profit despite being a non-cash expense. So stock-based compensation gets recorded on your P&L as though it was an out-of-pocket cost, but it's just allowing people to buy more shares of stock that you create at a discounted price. It's not an actual expense. Loki is up in arms about something. Let me check the door and see if there's somebody here. Nope. Nothing going on, buddy. You can eat your food, though. If you want to eat your breakfast, you've got breakfast here, buddy. All right, so here's Tesla's operating margin in the past 5 years, 10.5%, 16.8%. Going back in time, 12.1%, 6.3%, negative 0.3, negative 1.8. Wall Street is now faced with a conundrum. What will the new normal be for Tesla's operating margin after years of low interest rates, high demand, low supply, and early adopters? We're now in a world with restrictively high interest rates that make it really unaffordable for people to make their monthly payments on a Tesla. And we're in the chasm between early adopters and the mainstream. I wouldn't call that a chasm. That ought to be a steady growth from early adopters to mainstream consumers. As Loki moves over to inspect his breakfast a little more closely, we'll see if we can keep Loki in the shot there. That is not your best angle, Loki. Okay, you can sit in your bed if you want. Or you can come eat your food if you want. There's a kibble for you to start you off. Despite all these headwinds, each time Tesla gets a new factory through the ramping phase, it builds a new profit base like stacking Legos. So the next cycle of new factories ramping over time will have less of a negative impact on operating margin. Yeah, the more factories you have making profit, the higher your base amount of profit dollars climbs. So the cost of opening new factories becomes smaller as a percentage. Therefore, it's taking away a smaller percentage of your operating profit. But the real magic lies in two places: Tesla's relentless COGS reduction, software as a service margins looming for FSD, App Store, and upgrades as the fleet grows. So if FSD gets a lot better and a lot more people become aware of it and willing to pay for it, Tesla's going to sell a lot more FSD with no variable cost associated with that, right? And they may stop allowing people to do a one-time purchase of FSD. It may become a monthly software as a service subscription only. Like, you can't buy a lifetime subscription to Netflix or to your cable TV provider, right? The only way they will sell that service to you, your cell phone company won't let you pay them $15,000 to always have unlimited talk, text, and data. And if they were offering that, it would be a terrible deal for you. You'd be better off finding a good cell service plan, unlimited plan, and paying them monthly, right? So Tesla may simplify things by making FSD available only via subscription, except to people who have already paid the one-time purchase amount. So while we'll have an operating margin compression in 23, I think much of Wall Street has been lulled into thinking this is the new normal, when in reality we're about a year away from Austin, Berlin, and Lathrop being through the ramp, and the drag on margins phase serving as more profit Legos stacked up. Eventually we'll see a world with less restrictive interest rates, and it may just align after a lag with the timing of a robotaxi release from Tesla, where operating margins could take off from the current expectations thanks to FSD sales and Tesla's continued efforts to reduce COGS better and faster than anyone else, thanks in part to incredibly strong supply chain relationships built over a decade. In summary, we should all be watching Tesla's operating profit because it's what Tesla is optimizing for in this stage of growth. While compression is expected this year relative to the past few years, I do not believe this is a new normal. Tesla still has to earn the upside here. Volume production and solving FSD are very hard, but it really does feel like a matter of when, not if, Tesla surpasses its record high for operating margin, which was 19.2% in Q1 of 2022. Patience will be rewarded. What a great tweet from Dylan Loomis and I probably should have retweeted this. It's so good. Maybe I'll do that right now. I'll just hit the repost button here, because that was really an excellent tweet. I don't read all of them to you, you know, but that one I thought was worth it. Here's one from Holmar's catalog. FSD does not cost $15,000 a year. How am I supposed to believe the rest of the article if you can't get basic facts right? Business Insider says full self-driving is a beta add-on that costs $15,000 a year. That's what you get. That's what you get when you read Business Insider. You get wrongness. It's $15,000 once, ever, not per year. You don't pay that every year. That would be, I'd be paying I'd be over $70,000 worth of FSD by now if it were that every year. Here's one from John Ehrlichman. He likes to find different ways of tweeting the same story. I guess I do too. Tesla's revenue 2023, $73,000 every 23 seconds. Back in 2007, it was $73,000 for the year. Now, I don't even know what the $73,000 could have been in 2007. That doesn't seem like very many dollars. Are these in millions? No, they can't be in millions. Yeah, I don't know. But by 2010, even selling the original Roadster, it was already $73,000 every 5 hours. So they were selling, you know, a Roadster per day. That checks out roughly. That's the right ballpark for that. So I don't know what the 2007 revenue was. Might be interesting to have somebody tell me. If you know, leave a comment. Here's one from Elon Musk. When we are ready to do so, we will. While I think it is our best product ever, it is an extremely difficult product to build. We're in uncharted territory because it is not like anything else. Replying to James Locke at Architect Inc., who tweeted, Elon Musk, I say this with all due respect. Enough with the hype, let's get down to business. Please announce the specs, pricing, and new estimated delivery event date. When are we going to get our Cybertruck first deliveries event? And Elon says, you'll get it when we're ready. Okay. Here's one from Pompeii Sites that I liked. Pompeii House of the Orchard. If you've never seen a video tour of Pompeii, where archaeologists have uncovered what Roman villas looked like before the eruption of Mount Vesuvius, it doesn't look like what you're imagining, right? Like, these were homes of, yes, wealthy people who could afford to live in the city of Pompeii instead of outside the city walls. So these were like merchants or whatever, but pretty amazing the amount of art that was available in normal people's homes in Pompeii, covered under I want to say like 15 or 20 feet worth of ash. The entire city just incinerated and buried under ash for almost 2,000 years before archaeologists found it just a couple of hundred years ago and have been working to preserve the amazing art still visible, showing what gardens and pottery looked like in Pompeii all that time ago. So, pretty great tweet there. It's not Tesla related, but I liked it. Here's one from Dirty Tesla. New windshield is great. Tesla service did it in just a couple hours. Great job, Ann Arbor. So, good work there. Here's one from Holmar's catalog. Tesla is outselling Toyota in California while scoring #1 in customer satisfaction, along with Lexus in a new survey. They've got the customer satisfaction of Lexus in a product with the volume of Toyota. Most people do not know this, so that's a great tweet. Here's one from Dr. Know-It-All at Dr. Know-It-All16 on Twitter. I spend so much time on X, they should probably pay me. Oh wait, they do. Humor aside, this reality is a bit mind-blowing. I know the bar is pretty high, but it's crazy that chatting with friends here can lead to an income. Thanks, X-Team. Yeah. Here's one from Tom Nash. If this thing is $50,000, game over. Yeah, $50,000 is a lot less than the average price of a pickup with remotely comparable features to what's in Cybertruck. Here's Elon. You may not know that that's him there. Let me see if I can scroll in a little bit more and get you zoomed in on Elon's face after it loads in full detail. It's trying to. I think I'll be able to zoom in. No, I won't. I can't zoom in. That's sad. Okay, here's the next tweet from Connecting the Dots to Disruption. Plaid Model S is the fastest real four-door on Nürburgring. Much better record than the Rimac Nevera. Sure, Rimac smashed Model S's record as the fastest production EV on Nürburgring, but Model S's achievement is better. How come? The Nevera is a hypercar. The Model S is a regular old four-door luxury sedan. Let's compare each to their ICE rivals. The Nevera came in way behind the fastest hypercar, gas hypercar, and the Model S did not come in way behind the fastest luxury four-door sedan. So that's the comparison being made. Here's one from Sawyer News. Tesla has won permit approval for its diner and drive-in movie supercharger in Los Angeles, according to documents seen by Teslarati from the LA Department of Building and Safety. And there are all sorts of fun little Easter eggs hidden in here. And once again, the data transfer rate from X is not great right now, so I hope they have somebody working on making that better. So like there's Jeff Bezos in one of these windows over here. You can see there's a Tesla bot here, a Tesla bot roller girl delivering food. As we just saw, I can't zoom in on this computer because it won't let me. You can see the Twitter headquarters sign over there. Here's, of course, the Roadster in space. That's very easy to see. Here's a SpaceX launch happening in the background. So that's a lot of fun. You can see some fancy cars. Here's a Cybertruck, of course. There's nobody on this top deck. I wish they would have put some people up here. That would have been better. Here's the Don't Panic Cybertruck with the name of the company that made these renders, howardmodels.com, on it. You can see the service area over here for the supercharging. Another Cybertruck back here. I think that might be a McLaren F1 back here. Some really fancy non-Tesla vehicles. Let me know if you know what vehicle this is. It has a T on the front of it, but it doesn't look like any Tesla model I've seen before. Again, I would zoom in on it if I could, but I can't. And that's it for those. So go check out that tweet from Sawyer. Oh, there's the zoomed in Elon there. That resolved itself nicely. With Matthew Donegan Ryan captioning it, me looking at the guy next to me at a traffic light after he coal-rolled me, knowing he's about to get smoked by a Tesla. Yep, little smug grin there. Here's one from Jesse, formerly Jesse Dow, who I guess has been getting harassed enough online that he changed his description. At Micro2 Macker 0, these visuals do a great job showing how powerful Tesla has been getting in just the last few years. Things will only get better with the Cybertruck release, Energy Ramp, full self-driving full release, and upcoming Model 2 release over the next few years. The clock is ticking with just a ton of information on this graphic. So I probably won't have time to show you everything on here And I do wish the data transfer rate was better than it is right now. But I'm going to wait until this comes up so that I can talk about it some. Good information here from Jesse Dow, who I think changed his handle as well as his description name. Any minute now, X, you can keep up with my request to view this graphic that I liked on a tweet from Jesse Dow as I vamp for time. Loki still hasn't eaten his kibble. Let's switch to the Loki's bed cam quickly while I wait for my desktop to bring up the right information. Buddy, you've got a kibble right there that you're supposed to be eating, Mr. Loki. You gonna eat your food? Loki, eat your food. Eat your food. Yes. He'll eat when he's hungry. That's always the case. Sometimes he doesn't eat his food right away when I first put it down, but he always does eat his food eventually. And he may yet by the end of this video. We're only 70 minutes in to this video, and I have to give up on this now because it's still trying to load. But yeah, you can see vehicle deliveries are up, revenue is up, net income is up, cash flow is up. Cash is up while debt is down, so that was a good two-arrow chart here. The share count has been increasing as more stock-based compensation is awarded to Tesla employees. Auto margin excluding credits has remained high. Non-auto gross profits are trending up from the negative numbers they used to be. And operating leverage, yeah, the revenue is increasing a lot faster than the operating expense, the pink line here is. That is what you want when you invest in a company. Okay, next is a tweet from Alex at AJ Tourville. I know better than to try to click on this and show you the image larger. But when you make the Cybertruck transparent, or when you make this Model S transparent, one of the two, you can see that this is a Model S back here, not a Model 3. I was shocked, alarmed, and dismayed by the number of X accounts who were tweeting that this was a hatchback Model 3 back here. No, it is not. This is a Model S. It's a Model S back here, not a Highland Model 3 at all. People see what they want to see. Here's one from Viv. Working at both Tesla and X simultaneously makes me feel like Hannah Montana, which I thought was just a funny tweet. A lot of other people did too. Here's one from Larry Goldberg. Road trip. I'm setting off on my third cross-country road trip in my Tesla Model X. The plan is to highlight for non-Tesla owners such as Jim Farley 98 just how easy and joyful it can be to go cross-country in a Tesla and catch up with my Tesla buddies across the country. So good luck, Tesla Larry, on that long road trip, which will venture to the future site of Tesla's factory in Mexico, it appears, and to Boca Chica as well to see the SpaceX facility. Here's one from Jeff Roberts. 7 Cybertrucks at Giga Texas, one day closer to the delivery event. Yeah, so I'm not going to risk clicking on these to make them bigger. I'll just show them to you that way. Here's another one from James Dalma. That sounds like an excellent practice project. Thank you for the suggestion. What is? Well, he had begun this post. Turns out you can just go on Amazon and order an entire aluminum structure welding workshop in one morning and have it delivered. I love the future. We give Jeff Bezos a hard time. But Amazon sure can deliver a lot of stuff to you real fast. Like even Amazon welding workshop stuff can get to you same day. So I asked building a pool ladder for the Bears. That's one of the things that Mrs. James Dalma, she's not Mrs., but I'm not going to give her name. That may be one of the reasons why she deleted her Twitter account again after coming back briefly. But yeah, maybe they will make bear ladder to help the bears get into and out of their pool at their house, which must border a wildlife preserve of some kind in California. Here's another tweet from Sawyer. Tesla has created over 60,000 American jobs building EVs in this country. Tesla is also the only mass-scale automaker where 100% of its auto sales in the U.S. are from cars assembled domestically. Ford, 77.5%. GM, 54%. Yeah, nobody close to Tesla at 100%. So good to see. If you want to buy the most American-made car, buy a Tesla. Here's one from Danny Stocks at Danny Stocks 13. I do think it's time to start some advertising. There are a lot of people who I interact with daily that don't know about the advantages of Tesla vehicles or just repeat the FUD broadcasted by legacy media. Should Tesla do something about the decades of anti-EV FUD, anti-Tesla FUD? Danny and I think so, as a reply to my video asking, should Tesla advertise? I don't see any harm in Tesla spending a little money on advertising to see if it helps the order rate. Here's one from Earl of Frunkpuppy that I liked and retweeted. Careful of accounts that seem to discover dogs after revenue ad sharing became a thing. Get your dog content from accounts that made dogs a cornerstone of their account from the start. Couldn't agree more with that sentiment, and neither could Loki. Loki and I have been hosting this James and Loki's Gyms of the Week podcast for more than a year now. Here's one from May Musk, Elon's mom, saying the constant hate is from American media, the president, and government agencies. When I travel the rest of the world, they love Elon and ask why this is happening. Does anyone have an answer? Retweeting Tesla owner Silicon Valley, John saying Elon Musk should be treasured. He's doing so much to make a difference and yet receives constant hate. True. Here's another one from Earl. Report this account for upsetting me. Retweeting Mike at Tesla Truck Club. Just noticed the X in the Model X is pretty similar to the new Twitter logo, the X logo, with a thin bar this way and a thick bar the other way. Yeah, true. Bold suggestion, but perhaps we should try it, from Elon Musk. Here replying to Shibatoshi Nakamoto at BillyM2K, one of the creators of Dogecoin. In my opinion, California should make crime illegal. I replied, make crime illegal again. Campaign slogan for San Francisco's next mayor. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, you haven't seen the same videos I have of people breaking the law in front of police in San Francisco and then being allowed to just get away. The police make no effort to stop the people they see committing crimes. In San Francisco, that's not going to end well. It seems like the definition of unconscionable to let police see people breaking laws and not arrest them. What's your job if not to arrest people breaking the law? Crazy stuff happening in that city, and hopefully sanity will prevail eventually. Here's one from Bradford Ferguson at Brad S. Ferguson, executive producer of this program, overheard at a small town diner during lunch. He paid $125,000 for a Ford Lightning, picked it up in Detroit near Canada. He was driving it home and couldn't find a charger in South Dakota, so he calls Ford to come pick him up. EVs are just a fad, never gonna work. Yeah. So Tesla Larry, we just saw in his map, is going to go through South Dakota. And you can do that trip in a Tesla because Tesla puts superchargers in South Dakota. Ford doesn't have Ford chargers in South Dakota, which causes this anecdote to occur. And it's one of the reasons why Ford and GM and many other automakers are converting to the North American charging standard, the Tesla connector, so that they will be able to take advantage of Tesla's global supercharger network, especially the North American piece of it that uses the North American charging standard connector. I like this tweet from Elon where he and whole Mars blog went for a drive on FSD 12, the unreleased version of FSD beta that has done a fundamental rewrite without code. So there's no heuristic code programmed in where software programmers try to explain to the neural net what stuff is and how to recognize it and how to behave in traffic. They threw all that out and they replaced it with video-only training. Hey, neural net, here are millions of examples of real people driving real Teslas safely. So all you need to label for the computer is safe outcomes, unsafe outcomes, and give it a reward system to learn based on. And then it just learns from the people who know how to drive safely, and to arrive at the destination. So, great video to watch if you haven't watched it yet. 45 minutes long. Some good conversation from Elon. Some jokes about going to Mark Zuckerberg's house to challenge him to a fight, etc. Here's one from Dave Lee at HeyDave7. Holy moly, end-to-end neural nets. This is much sooner than I was expecting. I expect the rate of FSD improvement to increase rapidly now that perception and planning is practically all AI and no heuristics. Yeah, pretty great. We'll see how it progresses from here. Here's one from Sawyer Merritt. I just made a video earlier this morning when I offered Loki his breakfast that he still hasn't eaten yet on this J.D. Powa study. So if you don't know why I'm pronouncing it that way, watch the video all the way to the end. Here's one from Robert Scoble at Scobleizer. We used to believe that watching TV made you stupid, but now AI gets smarter by watching TV, in this case by watching video feeds from people's Teslas. Now robots that make mistakes must watch more videos as punishment. I love how parents are constantly proven wrong about what they tell their kids. Yeah, funny. Here's one from whole Mars. V12 has no code for recognizing lane lines, traffic lights, or pedestrians. They just trained on a bunch of video and it picked up all these behaviors itself. Camera and sensor inputs in, steering wheel and pedal actuation out. Photons in, control out. And the last tweet that I like this week came from Matt Smith. Is FSD basically solved? And how much more time/data is needed before this becomes a widely accepted fact? Great place for us to end this week. I'll check back in once more with Loki, who continues to doze in bed, before I outro and say thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, don't forget to leave a like wherever you're watching it, on Patreon or on X or on YouTube. If you see this on YouTube and you haven't subscribed to my channel for some reason, you can do that for free over here. Thank you to everyone who supports me, which is all of you. Thank you. I appreciate your support. And I will see you in the next one.